The first thing with that, I would say, is to get your feed set up, populate all the attributes. What is unique about this product? What could I get it to rank for? And of course, the great thing with the organic work that you do is it keeps paying. You've created an asset. There's a massive guide actually on our website about optimizing Merchant Center and what these attributes are and what you can do with them, what you can't, what the errors you'll get in Merchant Center to help you through that. You've pretty much got about 10 times the opportunity to get organic traffic from the first page of Google. There's like 100 opportunities rather than 10 with like the 10 product links. So that's pretty exciting.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Inside Digital podcast. This is episode 17. I'm your host for today, Nick, project lead here at Tillerson Consulting. With me, the main man, Mark Tillerson. In this particular episode, we're going to be discussing product packs, something that a lot of our clients and partners don't even know what they are, but everyone sees them in their everyday Google searches. Super important. So we thought it would be really good to do a in-depth session on that. So. I guess we'll just kick straight into it. So, Mark, can you give everyone a rundown of exactly what the product pack is in Google search?
Yeah, so everyone will be, I'm sure, familiar with product listing ads. So you type a query into Google, at the top you'll get various different ways they're presented, but most people will be familiar with you can swipe through multiple products. So if you are searching for microphone, then you'll get a whole bunch of microphones with prices and stuff. And those are paid ads. And a little while ago, Google changed the search results pages, the SERPs, to start including an organic version of those. So as well as the potential, the opportunity to be in those paid ad spots at the top, there's also basically an organic pack of those results. And they do work slightly differently. But it is a huge opportunity and one that we've exploited quite a bit for our partners to feature there to get more organic traffic. So I think the exciting part is that you've pretty much got about 10 times the opportunity to get organic traffic from the first page of Google. You know, there's like 100 opportunities rather than 10 with like the 10 product links. So that's pretty exciting.
Boom, super. And obviously we are no strangers to that, working with as many clients as we have done and the ongoing partners that we are currently working with at the moment. I know this is quite a lengthy thing to dive into, but do you want to just talk about the issues we spotted and how we've gone about ultimately improving the visibility on those,
Yeah.
To use the phrase that we use quite a lot here of the show me the money, what have we really done to increase sales for our clients? Yeah.
So I think the first thing, if you're brand new to this, is how do you get those products listed? So normally with kind of standard SEO, you kind of go, well, I've got my web pages, go crawl them and rank them. So you don't have to do anything other than create and optimize the pages, pretty much. With this, it's very different. So you need a Google Merchant Center account, which is originally the product that powered the paid results. But that also powers these organic results as well. So you need a Google Merchant Center account. It is free. You can connect that to Google Ads and run paid ads, but in this context, we're just talking about organic. So you need to create the account, ideally connect the website feed. So you'll have a product feed. Ideally, there are a few ways of doing this, but you want to connect your product feed from WooCommerce or Magento or Shopify, however you're doing that, to Merchant Center, claim your Merchant Center account, and then effectively what happens there is Google's going to keep going and retrieving content from that feed. So it's kind of like an XML feed, I guess. It functions in a similar way, but it's in a particular format, and that's going to hold the title, the description, the price, the brand, the color, whether it's in stock, like all of those normal attributes we would have with paid ads, but in this case, obviously organic. So, but you need to give that information to Google. If you don't give that information to Google, then it's either not going to show them at all, or you're going to have very, very limited reach. So a couple of critical things to think about in there. For what we're going to talk about to maximize the benefit, you definitely want the GTIN, the Global Trade Identifier, listed for each product. So this product, for example, this microphone, that has a GTIN. It's kind of like a book has an ISBN number, that is a GTIN, it's one of those. And most, all mainstream products would have a GTIN. In Europe, we call it an EAN, a European article number, but you must have that. So Google knows basically from a central database what that product is, and also it uses that identifier to compare your product with other people who are selling the same product. And that will become apparent why that's important. But fundamentally, you're pretty much, if you don't include those and the products do have them, you are not going to be shown in Google search very often, because Google knows that product has a GTIN, you haven't included it. If you were talking about ads, they would get disapproved. Like you just wouldn't show, because Google knows there's GTIN. The same happens with organic. So you definitely want to include the GTIN. I would say you definitely want to include the brand of the product. Even if it's your brand, that's fine. But if you're selling, I don't know, Adidas or Nike trainers, you definitely want to include the brand attribute there. You want to try and include as much information as possible. So all of the attributes that are available, you want to try and populate them. So colour, age, gender, dimensions, width, height, length, etc. You want to populate all of those as well. And of course, price should go without saying, but some people might miss that. So you definitely want a price on there. If you have a sale price, there's another attribute. So I would do some real digging into that. There's a massive guide actually on our website about optimizing Merchant Center and what these attributes are and what you can do with them, what you can't, what the errors you'll get in Merchant Center to help you through that. And then, of course, you've got the kind of standard thing that you would expect, which is a title and a description, which is kind of like a meta title and description for a page, for kind of standard SEO, except the description field is much bigger than a meta description. So the first thing with that, I would say, is to get your feed set up, populate all the attributes. The next step on from there is really to then optimize the titles and descriptions, which is a throwaway SEO comment. Optimize. Okay, what do we do to optimize? So from there, I would certainly look at some of your search term reports in Google Ads, look at your Search Console data, see what these products are matching with already, what do they rank quite well with, do some keyword research, go and use the keyword research planner in Google Ads, go and use SEMrush, whatever it might be, and then think about what is unique about this product. What could I get it to rank for? So, I don't know, if you sell, washing machines, for example, then you're not trying to rank for washing machine, right? Because, ads do show, all sorts of washing machine ads. If you type washing machine, you'll get the product carousel. But it's not going to be very relevant. So you want to think about putting some of those attributes in the title. So I would certainly, my process from there would be, okay, how do people search for washing machines? What are the attributes that they search for most? So do people search for the drum size? Yes, they do. Is that more popular than, the kilograms or the RPM or whatever that attribute is, right? Yeah. Or, is this an eco-friendly one? Do people search for an eco-friendly washing machine? Or do they search for brand? How often do they search for these things? What is the most popular? And then I'm thinking, okay, so in my titles, I need to put the things that are most likely to be searched for at the beginning. So don't put washing machine, 13 kilo, 1200 RPM or whatever they are, whatever the figure is, and stuff all these things at the end. Why? Because the things at the beginning, Google takes more notice of. But more importantly, when you see a massive list of pictures with prices, and it goes washing machine, washing machine, washing machine, washing machine, the user goes, well, I don't know the difference. So then I'm going to go click, oh, that's not the one I want. I go back, oh, that's not the one I want. I go back, and it's really frustrating and annoying, and I just go to a shop because it's that annoying. So actually, you can differentiate your listing in there, but also optimize it for those kind of longer tail, more specific terms that convert better by putting the 13 kilo at the beginning. So if you look at the results, you will see kind of the ads side by side for the type of thing you're selling. And then you will kind of understand in that context, Well, that stands out a bit because if I search for 13 kilo washing machine or 12,000 RPM or whatever it is, and that's at the beginning, I'm more likely to click on it. But I'm also optimizing that to show more higher in the rankings. So titles in there, and then the same with descriptions. So you want to think about what are those attributes and make sure the descriptions are structured in that way with the more important ones at the beginning. And that's going to help your rank for sure.
So with the description part of that then, is there a goal character limit that people should be aiming for? Because I know in the SEO world when we think of meta titles and meta descriptions, we're quite specific on the character limit that we're restricted by. Should people be thinking the same way for the product pack?
Not quite so restrictive. So I think the character limit's something like 2048, I think, something like that. Okay. So it's lots.
That's bulky, yeah.
So it's pretty huge, and actually you can go beyond that. It will just truncate, is my understanding. It's rare to go over that. I mean, if you have more characters than that in a product description, there's probably something wrong.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry too much about it, but also you don't want to just like, oh, there's space, so I have to fill it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't. You're not going to get points for putting more information in. In fact, a bit like bloated content, if you've created like a product page and there's just tons and tons and tons of information on it, which is really unnecessary and not really helpful, you're probably going to get, not penalised, but you're probably going to kind of de-optimise by including too much. So you don't want to kind of stuff it with hyperbole. Like, don't worry about, I don't know, if you're talking about washing machines, for example, you don't want to really tell a customer story about how they bought a washing machine from you or how pleased they were, or you don't want to include like review text and things like that in there, which might come through your feed. So you do have to be a bit careful with that. I wouldn't overstuff it, but in terms of the character limit, I wouldn't worry too much about that, but I would definitely focus on keep only the relevant specific information in there. Don't worry about adding lots of fluff and unnecessary stuff that's not going to help a search engine kind of rank it. It's not going to rank it for Mrs. Jones washing machine, so don't talk about Mrs. Jones review. It's just pointless. So keep it concise to the stuff that really matters, and don't go writing War and Peace, basically. Exactly. Sure. What would be a question someone would ask about this to differentiate it? So if you were in a physical store, if you think that information there, no one would ever ask that question, it doesn't belong in there. Right? If anybody would ask that question, then it belongs. Right? So even if someone says, "Oh, what voltage is it?" Now that would be a question, potentially, if someone really didn't have a clue, or some real obscure like reason why. I don't know, maybe it's on a building site and the phasing or voltage is different, I don't know, whatever. But it's highly, highly unlikely, but you might want to say it's 240 volts, which is fine, include that. But all the other stuff, if it's a question that never comes up, you don't need the answer in there.
Yeah. Cool. And then for the people that want to optimize these as best as they can but don't have access or haven't set up things like Google Search Console, or they don't have access to SEMrush or Ahrefs or keyword research, would you advise that they just kind of learn for what competitors are doing and then just try and do it better, or is that not the best advice?
I mean, the cheap, easy, no tool method of doing it is a bit laborious, but you would just go to Google and search for washing machine and check predictive search. And then you kind of go down a rabbit hole. So if you type washing machine, it will probably just come up with, I don't know, Zanussi or whatever. It'll come up with some brands. And then, of course, you can go, okay, Zanussi, whatever, Zanussi washing machine, A, B, C, D, that kind of stuff. And then what you'll stumble across through predictive search, or when you get the search results, the other questions that come out in the people also ask, or other search queries, you will start to see 13 kilo, 12 kilo, 11 kilo, whatever they are, or the RPMs or whatever the other features are. And then you'll start to get a feeling for like what else do people search for? How specific do they go when they start searching for a washing machine and they go, oh my God, it's like there's all sorts. I don't want an integrated one. Oh, freestanding then. So now I'm looking at freestanding washing machines. I've qualified my search. Oh, actually, yeah, we do a lot of washing. It'd be really good with a bigger drum. Okay, I want one with a large drum. I'm going to search for large drum. Once I understand what the large drum is, and I understand that's 15 kilo or 20 kilo or whatever the measurement is, I'm going to refine my search for now 20 kilo. Now, as an advertiser, you really want it when somebody knows exactly what they're looking for to get the click to convert it into a sale. Particularly if you don't sell the thing that they're looking for. Like with paid especially, organic's a little bit different, but because you're not paying for the search query. So you could do some research like really super basically that way, or I would hope that you know the products you're selling. So I would hope that you know how many RPM it is, or what the spin is, or whether it's a washer dryer, or what brand it is. I would hope you know those, and you should know your subject enough that, you know, if you're the owner of this store, you work in this e-commerce store that sells these products, then you should probably know the topic pretty well anyway, and have a gut feel for what's important. But honestly, I wouldn't do any of this without looking at some data. I'd prefer to run some analysis and pick. It's quite a lot of work. If you sell 1,000 different washing machines, you've got to sit and optimize 1,000 products with titles and descriptions and attributes and everything else. I'd want to do the best version I could, like out of the gate. Otherwise, you're just going to end up undoing it and doing it again, which is a bit nuts. So I would certainly do the research there. Leading on from that, I guess the next question would be, well, that's all very well saying optimize them. Where? Where do you do that? So number of options here. So one is do it in the website so that it comes via the feed into Merchant Center and then it's all automated. If you can't do that, or you don't want to do that, and it may be that you want slightly different information on your website than is, or presented in a slightly different way to Merchant Center. So the second way you could do that is with a supplemental feed. So you add your feed to Merchant Center from the website, and then the easiest way to do a supplemental feed, there is a video on this on our channel, by the way, is probably to create a Google Sheet with all of the IDs and then give it a title and a description and then optimize them in there. You add the supplemental feed and then that overwrites the title and description coming from the website. But I'm sure I say this in the video on the channel, be super careful because anything you put in that supplemental feed overwrites what's coming from the website. So for example, you absolutely do not want a sale price column in there or a price column, because then it's going to say, oh, it's £199 on the website, and then your feed's going to go, oh, it's £249. And then you do a sale price, or the price comes down on the website, it's £179, and now it's wrong. And then you'll get out of sync. So you only want to include the columns that you want, like title, description, probably in this case. And then you have to remember to keep like optimizing those or adding more products to that as you add more products to your feed. So it's a bit tricky to keep in sync. But yeah, that's probably the easiest way. There are numerous other ways of doing it, for sure. And the other thing I see all the time with product data in Merchant Center, talking of hyperbole, is stacks of HTML. So where it's coming from the website, you know, it's WooCommerce particularly, we'll see this. The description that's coming through has got, you know, paragraph tags and anchor links and all sorts of stuff in it. And you just don't need any of that in Merchant Center. It's just not necessary. So I would strip all of that stuff out. Cool. Quick ChatGPT prompt. Please strip the HTML, copy paste, thank you. Please strip the HTML, copy paste, thank you. Yeah. You know, it's the easiest way to do it.
Definitely, yeah.
Other LLMs are available.
So for people that really want to like increase their visibility in search, or are trying to really kind of sort of take off when it comes to just increasing sales through digital marketing, how important would you place this compared to other things that they can do, I guess, against, you know, how long it would take versus the payoff for it? Where would you place that?
As usual, it depends. So I think for e-commerce stores, for the right kinds of products, obviously you can do meta ads for some products, and some products work really, really, really well on like Meta. But you know, selling washing machines, the example we've been talking about, probably doesn't work so well on Meta. You know, that's quite you don't just interrupt someone. Hey, do you want to buy a washing machine? Like, it doesn't really work.
You need one or you don't.
It doesn't really work, right?
Yeah,
so and then you go, well, hang on. Well, it is cheap, but is it the one I want? Is it the right spec? Is it right? Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't really work. But when search is the right channel, Google obviously has the vast majority of the traffic, and the majority of search results for e-commerce type queries are Google shopping ads, and then the organic pack is obviously taking the pack that we're talking about takes up a huge amount of the real estate there. So that's where the attention is. So if you really want to grab all of the traffic you possibly can from search, then Google Merchant Center is an absolute 100% must. You're not going to achieve like massive growth through search without a Merchant Center account and without optimizing these kind of fully. So I'd say it's pretty significant. I think if you're after fast growth, then assuming you've done the conversion rate optimization, which we've talked about in other shows, and your pages convert well, your price is good, it's in stock, it's clearly in stock, all of those things, then I would go paid ads first. It's the quickest way to get traffic, it's the quickest way to get ranked, it's the quickest way to find out if your conversion rate optimization isn't up to scratch, because it's going to hurt, you're losing money. And then the secondary part for me would probably be doing the organic to then kind of go, okay, this traffic is now valuable. We know that from our paid ads. So let's now get some organic traffic to then increase our traffic, increase revenue, but most importantly, increase the profit, because of course these clicks are free. So very difficult to build a significant e-commerce store on free traffic quickly, I would say. Yeah. So paid would be my go-to for fast growth, and then organic to back that up in terms of scale, and not as a replacement for organic either, as paid, sorry. I don't think that kind of works as a strategy these days on Google. I think the paid stuff dominates it far too much. Yeah. But it certainly does take a chunk of time. I suppose the good news is that the work that I just described in terms of optimizing the titles and descriptions and the content and everything else actually helps optimize the paid shopping ads as well. So if you're already doing it for your paid ads, the organic stuff's going to follow kind of for free. So that's really good. The other part of it, though, I mentioned you got kind of 10 times the opportunities. And the reason for that is in that organic pack, I think you'd normally get around 12 results. So if you were, as I say, if you were searching for that 12 kilogram drum washing machine, in that organic pack, what you would probably have is, here's a Zanussi XYZ123, here's another brand, different product, here's another Zanussi, different product. And the store that's in will be there. So you'll get, okay, this is in, I don't know, this is on Amazon, for example, or whatever it might be. And the cool thing here is, remember I talked about the GTIN earlier? Yes. So when you click that listing, it doesn't go to the website for Amazon. What it does is opens up a side panel for other stores that have that product available with their price and their stock availability as well. So arguably, if you've got 12 results in that pack, plus all the organic listings on top of that as well, then you've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stores with a price comparison. Just with the 12 products with 10 stores, there's 120 opportunities to be on the first page of Google for 12 kilo drum washing machine, for example. Yeah. So as much as you'd like to be the one that's getting clicked, actually just being in the price comparison table for free could definitely get you some clicks and get you some traffic and get you some sales. So I think it's a bit of a leveler, really, for some work to go and optimise those results, to get the opportunity to be in there. So, yeah, and we've certainly seen significant uplift by doing this optimization. So, difficult to put exact numbers on it, but some of them are double or triple the impressions, the visibility, the clicks, and the revenue that are coming through them, which is huge. That's a huge amount of additional revenue. And of course, the great thing with the organic work that you do is it keeps paying. You've created an asset. You have to keep optimizing a little bit, but once you've done the bulk of the work, it's like well, we're there.
Yeah, you've laid the
Good.
foundations.
We've laid the foundations. So
exactly.
Yeah, so that I'd say the results we've had from it is it's a lot of work to sit and go through 1,000 products to rewrite the titles and descriptions and put all the attributes, things like that in. It is quite a substantial piece of work. So I would say, well, look, if you want to prove it, then just pick one brand in your inventory and go and do it for that and see how that looks, or pick one category. Don't worry about the tumble dryers and the ovens and everything, just do the washing machines. How does that look? Go and check how much more organic traffic you're getting. Look in Search Console, how much it's coming through, what sales are we getting from GA4 or whatever. See that coming through. But yeah, I've seen significant increase in traffic and revenue from that. So yeah, definitely worthwhile doing it.
Excellent, brilliant. And if outside of what you've already mentioned, are there any other common pitfalls that people might fall into when trying to do that, or?
There are lots, and there are many and varied. So you get all sorts of weird errors. Again, I would say have a look on the Merchant Center guide on our website, and there's a stack of errors that you will get. And of course, if you search Google from that, you'll find Google's help, which isn't always that helpful. So we've done a whole series of videos about what all these errors are and stuff, but trying to keep your data in sync in exactly the format that Google wants it in, and then addressing the errors that come up, that some of them can be like super frustrating. So things like, oh, well, you said this product's in stock in your feed, and your website says it's not in stock. So it's not in stock. We're not gonna show it in the listings at all, organic or paid. And it is in stock. What do you mean? It literally says on the website it's in stock. And then if you look in the HTML, there's some random bit of code that's programmed to do something, and it says the words out of stock somewhere in there. And Google's picking that little bit of text up in your HTML and going, oh, the product's out of stock, and then ruining everything. And you have to try and unpick that. So there's annoying little things like that it's just the conflict between Google trying to be too clever and the code in your website where your developer or your platform is trying to be too clever, and they're just getting confused. So that happens. Things, as I say, with pricing that's coming from the website or the supplemental feed, that can have an issue. HTML within the web page, if you have like a price and a sale price, and then in your feed you've got a price and a sale price. If those are slightly, it looks perfect on a page, but if they're slightly odd in the way that they're constructed in the HTML, then Google could find your price instead of the sale price, and then cause you problems in listings to go, well, the thing you've told us in your feed is not what it says on your webpage, and it gets confused. There's things like that would happen as well. But yeah, there's tons. You could spend a whole afternoon just working through all of these issues and errors. But the key thing I think is do some analysis, do some keyword research, do the optimization, and then measure what the impact of that is, and then think about, well, how do I optimize this even more? How do I get from the price comparison bit into that pack right at the beginning, so I'm the first click instead of the second, or the price comparison. I would certainly recommend keeping an eye on that and coming back and making it better and making it better. One thing is definitely true: your competitors are not standing still. They're going to be checking what you're doing and then trying to overcome what you did to outrank them, and then you're into an arms race. But that's the game.
It's a vicious game.
Yeah.
Got to play
that's the
it.
game. Yeah, 100%.
Play the game. Awesome. Okay. Anything else? Any closing thoughts you want to add to that, or have we covered all bases?
No, I think give us a like.
Yeah.
That's my closing thought. I've been around the block so many times on the Merchant Center stuff. I've banged my head against the wall with Google support, lack of it, so many dozens and dozens and dozens of times, and you do kind of learn just through experience kind of these things to avoid. But I think fundamentally, keep it clean and tidy and focused on the things that matter to a human. Don't worry about the hyperbole, don't worry about the HTML, those kinds of things. I think that's a really good, solid place to start.
Great. Excellent. Super. Well, thank you so much. That's been us. If you're happy with what you've heard, please do check out our other podcasts. Catch you on the next one.